One day out from the Texas Pro. Today is the big day. The one where I have to make sure I can get up to the right body weights, I can assess and make sure I nail the look I want for stage, and then to take this all the way to the evening to nighttime to go to bed at the right weight to wake up for show day just how I want to be, which that sounds really complicated, but it isn't. And if you're not even meticulous with tracking, just doing enough of the tracking that needs to happen, we can nail it. Right, so fed a lot harder yesterday, and I went to bed at 241, so now instead of dropping all the way down to 235, actually in Tampa I dropped all the way down to 234, like 0.6, 236.2 this morning, which what I'm thinking is like closer to 238 is going to be like on the money. So with being fuller, I look much sharper. So I lose a lot of my detail when I'm pretty flat, which is the critique in Tampa, like be fuller. So one day out, starting in a great position, and now I have all the diet that I ran yesterday to kind of template off of. So far so good today. So already heavier this morning, already a lot fuller. And so to start the day off, just make sure we had enough food. We headed over to Kroger and get some bananas because I've been going through bananas like crazy, and we wanted our Starbucks because the Keurig here was just not quite cutting it. And we're coming back after getting coffee on our Kroger trip. There's a lot of downtime, which it's funny because with clients or even members in J3U, they're like, oh, I didn't want to bother you, John. It's like, no, I still work like all the time on these show weekends. So one day out, even show day, there's downtime, clients check in, like I'm getting to my clients, and my competing or my hobbies or whatever it may be are not a concern to my clients of what I've committed to them. So if obviously certain clients don't need to check in on show day, but ones that are in prep, I have clients that are competing the next weekend or the weekend after, like their priorities, their prep is, and I treat them just like I'd want to be treated. So check-ins still happen. We still get to work. And also just gives me something to do because we really literally just sit around and eat and take pictures and videos of posing. So yeah, I love this stuff. So it's never really work and keeps me engaged with clients over the weekend. Today was just a lot of eating. I did a practice pump up right after meal 2, which lands me pretty close around stage time, and that look was right around 238, and which looked great. And for Tampa, I was like 235.6. So we're already like knowing like I should be about 2.5 pounds heavier than what I was for that show. And now I know off these meals and how much fluids I've been doing that what I need to do on show day to get to that. So the rest of the day has just been eating and weighing myself and making sure that I get up to about 242 for tonight, because last night I was 241 and I dropped down to 236. So ideally I can be closer to 237 when I wake up on show day, and I won't have to eat so much on show day to keep the best waist control possible. So the feeding continues for the day. We did make another trip back to Kroger because Renee wanted rotisserie chicken. And do we say it, Renee? A little Snickers bar and peanut M&Ms. I totally just ratted her out. And I got more bananas, and of course our cameraman got some sourdough bread and jam. So our little trips of the day. Again, today, one day out, it's not doing a whole lot. So weight's starting to slow down. I've been 238.4. Last meal was 238.6 before it. So that last meal was 120 grams of carbs, 13 grams of fat, 40 grams of protein. So based on my weight slowing down, I'm now going to push carbs and fats at more. So adding in another 25 grams of carbs on top and about another 7 grams of fat. So I'll be right at 20 grams of fat, 145 grams of carbs. Protein's the same. So not a lot of protein here, like 85 grams of chicken is all I'm doing in these meals. Protein gets pretty low one day out. Basically bikini measures for the protein. We'll say like since being in the open, these like peak week food amounts have like vastly increased. but also compared to 212, the food focus is way down because you're coming in pretty depleted to make weight, and your food just can't get as high because coming from like super flat depleted to try to like right after you weigh in get enough food in, you can't do it, or you'll be really bloated to stand on stage. So it's a different peak to kind of manage. But even now, like, you know, will be almost 5,000 calories for the day. So you have to still the next day manage waist control. It's just not all about put in 1,000 grams of carbs and get full. It's like, well, you also need to be able to have the aesthetics to go with it. So a lot of strategic food pairing, while you'll see me do like raisins in my rice to keep some of the rice down, but not so much raisin that it causes issues as well. And the last thing of the night was knocking out a tanning coat. So I'm already tan, so I had some base coats done, but wanted to show you like the full DIY of how to put on the complete tan start to finish so you could do it yourselves.
We are going to show you how to DIY your tan.
From start to finish, every part of the process. You know, a lot of people might travel to shows and maybe you don't know the tanning company. Maybe you want to refine your process to where you can do it yourself, because for one, the convenience is really nice to stay in your Airbnb or hotel and not have to travel between, maybe save money. But also, I've had a lot of tans mess up. I'm pretty fair skinned and I need lots of coats, and I've been on stage so many times where it looks like it's caked on or I'm not dark enough. So Renee and I have finally figured out the process of doing it yourself, and it's really not that hard. So I want to share with everybody, save this video, and you can use it later on for your own preps. But the first thing that we have is, for one, just shaving. I'm sure if you've shaved before, you might do still like the gel and razor. Like one thing that I've gone to is a Philips Norelco one blade, just because this gets pretty close, but not so close that you're more prone to like razor burn or ingrowns, which is a problem area for like adductors, hamstrings, like glutes, lats for me. So I start this whole process for me 4 days out. So I'll do my first shave then. Some areas that are sensitive, I won't shave that close, so I'll use just a regular buzzer. And then we start the process of tanning, and then 1 day out, we'll hit it again with this, just to get any hairs that are getting a little bit longer. But you don't have to worry even if you have some stubble or you're tanning, because you always are going to be able to touch it up with this. Now, skin prep wise, I've gone all pro tan. I do think they have some of the best products. So just initially your first shower, use their Get Buffed. You don't have to make any special concoctions with it. You can use this on like a like loofah and just a light scrub. You don't need to try to take your skin off, because actually scrubbing too hard at irritating the skin can make the tan less adherent. Other things, nitrile gloves.
Make sure you have gloves. I have made the mistake of not having gloves, and my hands were just brown for days.
Like mine.
So make sure you have gloves. It's very important.
And so what we're going to do and you'd be using is Pro Tan's overnight competition color. And then I do use their super dark competition color as well. So this one is just a very dark formula, but we do a 50-50 mix and just pour them into a bowl to use. That makes it really easy to apply with their applicator. And so if you're not, you tan pretty well, you could just use the regular overnight. What this process is going to be, we'll show you, is 4 days out, we'll do a coat on, sleep in it, and then you can just rinse it the next morning. So you're always never going to have to be like sitting in coats all day long. And then every night, 3 days out, another coat, rinse in the morning, and repeat that process until on show day. And once we get to show day, we'll show you what that next step is. But with this, every time, like with this Pro Tan, it's going to be like a darker staining of the skin. So eventually, if you've been tanning, you might have been just 1 day out from a show and they're putting coat on top of coat on top of coat, and eventually it stops getting adherent and you just get muddy. So this is how you prevent that, how you can get a really good base. Now, do you need to do it 4 days out? Well, it just depends. You'll have to play around with that. But if you're new to this, start earlier. Back in the day, guys used to do like 7 days out, to where they woke up on show day and they just would put some glaze on and go out stage. Now, Our lights are a lot brighter nowadays, but just to show you can build a really, really good base quickly doing this.
So what we have in this bowl here is a 50-50 mix of the overnight base coat and the super dark base coat. So that's a 50-50 mix if you are very fair skinned like this guy over here. And then this is the sponge, and when you dip it in, it holds a ton of the tan. So you don't need to put it completely in the bowl because you're just going to be soaked and it's harder to work with and it starts like dripping. So just a little bit at a time.
Any tips on spraying this stuff? I just like painting the wall, right?
Painting a wall. If you read the sponge directions, it says to go in a circular motion, but I don't like doing that. I like almost going with like the grain of your hair.
Or against the grain, right?
No, actually.
To where it doesn't feel like sandpaper?
Yeah, where it doesn't feel like sandpaper.
Yeah. With the grain of hair.
With the grain. And people always give him shit because they're like, why don't you tan your face? Well, we don't tan his face until the last day because you don't need to. You just need one coat on your face.
Yeah. I sleep with a CPAP, so it's going to get all over that too. You really could just do the overnight, the morning of your show, and don't use, they do have a bronzer for show day, but it's actually recommended to not use that on your face. So you can just use the overnight. If you're like really fair skinned, you might want to sleep in the overnight on your face, but otherwise you can just do it on actual show day. Like, for this show, I'll just put it on in the morning.
And then for things like hands, the hands do absorb a lot of the color and will get like super dark compared to the rest of the body. So you don't need to put coats and coats on top of hands and feet.
So this is our base coat that's on. You have two options morning of show day. You could rinse again, and so that is the person that got plenty dark, and then put your bronzer on top of it, which this is the Pro Tan Competition top coat. So it is a lot darker than the base coat, but it's one that's not going to be developing over time. So it's just to sit on top of the skin, but it does dry. But it's one you want to basically put on as close as you could to the competition. And this one's really easy to, like, if you got a smear or something, you can make touches up with this. For my coat, what we found is to not rinse in the morning. So I leave on this base coat, on goes the competition color, and then I'll be dark and look on point for stage. From there, we have used Pro Tan's Muscle Juice, which with this one, don't spray it on yourself and then rub it, because you're also gonna get too oily in one spot. So spray it onto your nitrile gloves and then rub it by hand. And don't worry, your tan will be dry enough to where you're not going to be spreading the tan out over. And like for Tampa, like I had Renee come backstage with me because I see so many people go out on stage with no oil on. Like for us pros, like Tampa went for an hour. So even though you might sweat, you still can absorb some of this posing oil and get dry back there. So I have her back there with me just to go through the whole time. And there were so many guys that missed the mark for this reason, because sometimes there's only two people back there glazing. Guys just don't have someone to point out like, hey, you need more oil on. So that is like, man, you spend that much money to competing in time, like get the backstage pass. Like it could be really worth you to have someone that could just put your oil on. Things we bring to our Airbnb, which our Airbnb is like all white. Towels and bedding. So always bring our own towels. So we have a hand towel, a bath towel we got. We can go over to the bed and see what we brought as well. So we also bring all of our own sheets. So we have a dark fitted sheet that goes over the mattress, and then also just my dark sheet that I sleep with. Obviously Renee sleeps in the bed with me, so she'll use like the bedding that's here and be on that side of the bed. And then we bring a few pillowcases as well to sleep with. And the thing with tanning, like you don't need to sleep in like long pants and shirts. I have a hard time sleeping like that, and I get hot. So I'd rather just sleep in like my shorts and then have this bedding on me, and that's all I really use. But again, if you get really cold or however you need to sleep. I mean, you could sleep in like some long, loose, soft clothing, but with Pro-Tan, it dries so well that it's not really smearing that much or getting problem areas like that. So, but I would just make sure you pack all this stuff because it makes it really easy to not have to think about getting it all over the place. And then I'll take this like downstairs when we're hanging out, bring it on the couch, so I'm not gonna stain this house all over the place. But that wraps up our one day out. So hope you all find this informative, entertaining, and if there's other questions or things that you want to learn from me, just leave them down below because I can always do videos for the future for you guys, and that's what I want to be here for, so you can always just get better in your bodybuilding journey. But for all that support me, thank you so much, and we will have show day coming soon.